welcome back to my channel. A lot of parents have problems with children when it comes to reading. So, how do you raise a leader? How do you help yourself to raise that child who will love to read? Apart from the fact that it helps them in school, it's also good to be a reader even as an adult. It helps you to get knowledge and exposes you to so much information. So there is this popular saying that readers are leaders. Follow me as I share some few points with you on how to achieve this. I have tried some of these things and it has worked for me, so that's why I'm sharing it with you. To instill the habit of reading in your children is a gift you can give to them. It's a lifetime gift that will help them in every aspect of life. So, do you want to make them a bookworm? Let's go. First thing you will do is make it a daily routine. Make sure they read something a day. They don't have to read a whole chapter of a book. It can be just an article in the newspaper. It could be something from the label of something like a cereal. It could be something as simple as that. Let them just read something. Don't rush them. You don't have to start with 100 pages. They can read out your letters to you. You don't have to rush them. Just make it a routine. Make sure it's done every day. Make sure they read something to you, especially when they're really young. They're excited when they start learning how to read. They want to read everything. So when they're about 4, 5, 6, just make sure you just give things to them. Like, can you read this page for me? Like, I'll do it sometimes and make my 5-year-old read a verse of the Bible. I will help him with the words that are too difficult for him to pronounce, and we go on from there. So just give them a little reading exercise every day. Number two, be a role model. If you're not used to reading as an adult, it's difficult for you to pick up a book and start reading. So, one of the things you can do for yourself, don't start with a very big book. Don't start with something that will scare you. Just pick something and let them sit down beside you. Then begin to read them together. Let them pronounce some words with you. When they see you read every day, they will eventually be the one to remind you some days. Like, Mom, can we read today? We haven't read today. Children we're raising now, they work more when parents show them that things can be achieved. Do as I do, not do as I say. If you're a kind of parent that applies the do as I say principle, it could be difficult to get your children to do things and it could make them rebel. The best way to transfer a habit to a child is to repeatedly do the same thing. You are their hero. And so, whatever you do as they grow up and watch you, it becomes a lifestyle for them. So, be a role model. Number three, this is another thing you can do that can make it easier for you. Create a cozy environment for them. You know, you can have a reading corner. You could have a blanket that you use at that time to say, oh, this is our reading blanket. You could have a little lamp by the side and say, oh, put on the reading lamp. It helps them to kind of feel among, especially when you have children under 10. They kind of want to have the special effect for everything. So if you create a cozy environment for them, it helps them to pick up this habit and want to go back the next day. It creates an ambience for them to want to read. So you could have a blanket, you could have a corner, you could have a reading table, you could have a reading corner. Just make sure there is this environment that can encourage them to pick up a book. Another thing you can do is to visit the library often. If you have access to a library, you could take them to the public library and let them pick books, spend some time to read it. You could reward them with some ice cream or something after coming out of the library. But going to the library can be exciting for children. So let them get a book. If they choose to get a book that is not so voluminous, it's okay. You don't have to force things. Just take it one day at a time, one step at a time. Let them get a book, let them read it while you're in the library. You have to pick a book as well as a parent. Like I usually say, parenting is not a joke. Sometimes you have to develop that habit because you want them to develop the habit. Another thing you could do is to give your child the control over what they will read. So take them to the bookstore, let them pick up the one they love. Yeah, one of the things I do is that I try to just quickly read through to see if it's age appropriate, if there is no inappropriate words in it. You may not be able to get this at the store. There are times when I bought books and I've had to throw them away because I don't like the content of the book. So in a way, you just have to be careful as well when you're getting a book for your child. Let them go to the bookstore with you. Let them pick what they want. And most of the time, all these books, you could check their reviews online to see if you want your child to read it. Give them the control over it. Let them pick the book they would like to read. They kind of have this thing about what they own, and they just want to embrace it and celebrate it, carry it around, enjoy it. So if your child is able to pick a book that they like, it will help them to open the pages of that book than you enforcing a book on them. Another thing that I would recommend to you is that let your child read more than books. When you're traveling with them in the car, let them read the signages on the road, let them read labels of chocolates, cereal, you let them read things, let them read signs on cars, stickers on cars, expose them to reading. So it's not just about sitting in a place and getting a book. Reading is more than that. When we were small and whenever we're traveling down to see my grandparents, we usually have like a little journal or something. So we know the names of the cities we go to. We read everything we see on the way. That exposes your child to a habit of reading, and it kind of help them to be able to study the environment as well. When your child is reading, you could hack the funny voices. So if they're reading a book about the three little pigs, you have to read out to them sometimes. You can make your voice funny. I will huff and buff and blow your house down. It excites them to want to read. And you could make another voice for another little pig. And the tiny little pig said, Mama, how are we going to live in this house? This house looks so cute. And when you get to the turn of the wolf, you could say, and the wolf came and the wolf said, Who is in this house? It just helps them to enjoy reading time. So it's more than just leaving them alone to read this. You have to be participatory as well. Participate and be that parent who is involved. Like I said earlier, parenting is not a joke. All right, this is the last point I'm going to share. Make reading time fun for them. You could reward them with something. You could say, Oh, we're going to see who's going to finish this book first. Whoever finishes first, have their popcorn first, just to encourage them to be readers. You need to make sure they're enjoying what they do. That is the most beautiful part of reading. Apart from the fact that reading helps your child in school, reading could also help your child to be so creative and imaginative. There are so many advantages of reading. It will be nice if you can just pick some of these points to help you raise a reader until they become a leader. Readers are leaders. Once you're able to get your children to love books, it's easy for them also to be able to read the Bibles. When you have little children, it's better to start with the Bible stories first. They will want to read it. As they grow, they begin to get revelation of the in-depth word of God. So don't rush them too much. Don't start saying things like, oh, you need to read deeper. It's more than the story. They're children. Let them enjoy the Bible stories first. In the process of enjoying this, as they grow in the Lord, as you expose them to the reading of the Bible, the more they begin to get insight into what it really means. Once you're able to get your children to love books, it's easy for them also to be able to read the Bibles. When you have little children, it's better to start with the Bible stories first. They will want to read it. As they grow, they begin to get revelation of the in-depth word of God. So don't rush them too much. Don't start saying things like, oh, you need to read deeper. It's more than the story. They're children. Let them enjoy the Bible stories first. in the process of enjoying this, as they grow in the Lord, as you expose them to the reading of the Bible, the more they begin to get insight into what it really means. Once you're able to achieve this by introducing them to books, it's easier for them to even read without supervision, to read without being prompted, and it's easier for them to pick up their Bibles and read. Thank you for listening. Just drop in the comments the best point you've gotten from this video today, and let me know your views. If you have any additional hints for us, kindly drop it in the comment. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day.